always think of right now is the time I think of, which again, I guess is Seinfeld adjacent, is Larry David. Because he talks about, there's a very small window where you can say Happy New Year's. He's like, I don't want anyone telling me that after, what did he say? Like January 5th or something? Because someone does it to him and he gets so mad and he's like,
classic Larry David.
Yeah, he's like, I refuse your Happy New Year's at a certain point or something.
But he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Because when do you stop saying Merry Christmas?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
a lot of stuff he does is like, I mean, it's just like Seinfeld. So it's what he did on Curb, but it's like, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff he does, it's like, yeah, there's some truth into it, but he just
takes it to the extreme.
He does.
Well, yeah, because Christmas, I mean, I guess you'd kind of say Merry Christmas a few days after, but then at some point you start saying Happy New Year, like, or I don't know, like in between, like
the 28th.
Because there's a week in there. There's a week in between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when do you change?
And you're not saying Merry Christmas on like December 31st.
No. But where is the cutoff? Yeah.
Yeah, where's the
I say the 27th and a half.
27th and a half.
Like
okay.
6
halfway
p.m.
through the day.
Halfway through that day.
6 p.m. on December 27th.
All right, everyone, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
6 p.m. on what day?
The 27th and a half.
There you go.
Do the math.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll keep that in mind next year. Don't tell CC Merry Christmas after the 27th and a half.
Yep. Better know when it is.
Okay, welcome back to Screen Time. I'm your host, Josh, and I have with me co-host CC.
Hey.
And Jared.
What a waste of good scotch.
Why? Is that so funny?
Yeah, out of all the things you picked, that yeah.
I mean, I had a few options, but I went with that one.
What were the other options, please?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't know why I went with that one. I just thought it was great. Some of the other ones were a little long too. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to get too crazy with the
quote.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, we are talking about the movie Skyfall today. Mm-hmm. So this is directed by Sam Mendes. Came out in 2012. PG-13, which is the first for Mendes. Like every movie up to this point has been rated R. This is the first PG-13. Also the first movie to really exceed 2 hours. This one's 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So a couple firsts there. The synopsis. James Bond's loyalty to M is tested when her past comes back to haunt her. When MI6 comes under attack, 007 must track down and destroy the threat, no matter how personal the cost.
I feel like that needed a dun.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's Mission Impossible.
There's a little similarity.
Yeah, there's some similarities.
It is very similar.
I will mention something in the music when we get to there. Similarities in Mission Impossible, actually.
So this was written by Neil Purvis and Robert Wade and John Loga. Now, Neil Purvis and Robert Wade basically were writers also on all the Daniel Craig James Bond movies.
Oh, nice.
So they kind of, helped write all of them. And then John Loga, this is the only one he wrote on, but also wrote like Gladiator and The Aviator.
Wow.
And Rango.
What? Rango?
Yes.
Man, what a pull.
Random.
I mean, okay.
But yeah.
I actually like Rango a lot.
Yeah,
I like Rango a lot, actually.
Yeah. Then we're back with the Dream Team, Roger Deakins.
Okay, real quick. We're not going to get into cinematography yet, but did you know right away?
Yeah, well, I already knew ahead of time.
Oh, dang. Okay, I wanted to see if you could just tell like you did.
But I knew beforehand. I remember it was a big deal when this movie came out that he was DPing this James Bond movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then of course, not to get ahead of things, but also on the music,
Thomas Newman again.
is
Yep.
back. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, he likes his team. Mendes
Which is
does.
awesome. Yeah. When
Yeah.
he can get them, why not? You know.
So the estimated cost on this was $200 million, which is also a first. That kind of budget.
Yeah.
I mean, what was? Trying to remember what the next highest one was, but I don't even think he had anything over 100. Everything was under 100 that he's done so far.
Gladiator was under 100.
No. For Sam Mendes.
Oh, for Sam Mendes.
that directed.
I mean, I think Road to Perdition was pretty high.
Yeah, but I don't think it was
Because I remember we talked about
because of the
it was a
period stuff.
Yeah.
Like ups the cost, but I don't think it was.
Because
I think it was.
I
still
mean,
under
the
100.
one that you were on, also American Beauty. I don't think
Yeah, it wasn't
it
like.
wasn't that high.
Wasn't
Yeah,
crazy.
A lot
yeah.
of money.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy. But anyway, I forgot to go back and look at it.
And what was it? Jarhead? That wasn't. That might have been a little more,
Yeah, because of the,
but not. Yeah, this is very substantially more,
yes.
which makes sense for a Bond movie. Obviously,
Yeah, they have to.
yeah,
They have to.
yeah.
Yep. This movie won 2 Oscars
Did it?
Really?
for sound editing, and then
Oh.
best original song.
Oh, right, that makes
The
sense.
theme
I
song.
think
Okay.
I remember.
Yeah,
song. There were some other nominations, including for cinematography, but it didn't win.
of course. If he doesn't win, he gets nominated. At
Yes.
least, always. Man, sound editing. Okay, that's
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
okay.
All right. So then we have Daniel Craig playing James Bond, Judi Dench playing M.
Dame Judi Dench.
Dame Judi Dench, yes. Javier Bardem playing Silva. Ralph Fiennes playing Gareth Mallory. And
Voldemort.
yeah,
That's right.
Voldemort. Yeah. The one who should not be
I was saying,
named.
is that
Should
why,
not
is that
be
why you
named.
whispered it? You
Yes,
can,
you should
can't say it, yeah.
Naomi Harris as Eve, also Moneypenny.
Yes.
And then
True.
Roy Kinnear as Tanner. And those are all the people that I am familiar with. That was in
We got
this.
one more.
You got one more?
Yeah. Helen McCrory. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her. I know her because she's in Peaky Blinders, and I love Peaky Blinders. But
Yes.
she's only in like one scene. She's in like the courtroom
Okay.
or the.
Oh, yeah.
She's the
but-
one
Is
that's.
she
That's
the
kind of
lady that
running it.
passed?
Yeah, she just passed recently. Yeah.
Wow.
Like
okay.
like a year ago or maybe even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And she's
Yeah.
not that old because
No, I.
you
Yeah, I
shouldn't look
can't
that
remember.
old in this movie.
No.
No.
No, I mean, it should be 10 years older than.
Yeah, I
that.
think she passed away in
Yeah.
2023. Yeah, it wasn't that long
Because
ago.
I think they had a recent death on Peaky Blinders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. But yeah, that's it. That's another one.
Cool. All right. All right. So with that, before we get into spoilers, what's your overall thoughts about this movie?
I have a hot take.
Hot take?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What is that?
Hot take is that this is the most superior James Bond film and the Daniel Craig series. Everything else sucks.
Ooh, that is a hot take. That
Wow.
is a hot take.
So this is the only one you like of the Daniel Craig one.
I think this is the best one.
Okay.
Spectre is next, and
Oh.
No Time to Die is the worst.
No
Wow.
Time to Die is the worst. The
Terrible.
worst. You're right.
Casino Royale is third. Quantum of Solace gets a, because I didn't really watch that one, so it gets a,
Okay.
it's an outlier.
Outlier. Well,
I would agree similar to your list. Somewhat. Yeah.
I was gonna say like I disagree that I think Casino Royale is the best one, and then this is second.
Ooh.
Yes.
I don't know
Why?
if
Wait, what's your list?
I don't know. I don't know if I would agree with that either. I mean,
So which one do you think is the best of Daniel Craig movies?
no, actually, maybe because it's hard. That's why I'm not sure, because I would say either Skyfall or Casino is like number one, but I can't really decide on. They're both like my favorite of the Craig ones. But I agree with like No Time to Die is like very like, let's put that at like 50, not even the fifth.
Yes,
you know,
it's actually the worst James Bond
let's put it-
film
let's put
because
it-
I've
yeah,
seen
let's
some
put
bad
it-
ones. It's the last.
yeah. And Quantum of Solace is the second worst for sure. Yeah, I think so I agree with pretty much the rest of your list, but yeah, I don't know. Casino Royale is really good. Yeah, but
Yeah, that's
Well, this is interesting though. So Josh has not seen No Time to Die.
I've not. I've never got.
You're not
missed-
missing anything.
That's what I told him.
Not
I know, but
missing
I have
so
to. I have to watch it, and I'm gonna watch because obviously we're gonna watch Spectre for next week.
Yes.
because it's also Sam Mendes. But then No Time to Die was not him, and so I'm gonna watch it then because I'm like, well, if I'm watching Skyfall and Spectre, now's the time to watch
Yeah.
No Time to Die.
I would rather get a root canal than watch No Time to Die. And I've gotten a root canal. And I'd rather go through that process
Man.
again. It was painful. Painful.
Well, but as a James Bond fan,
Sure, yeah, you still
I've
have-
seen all the other movies a gazillion times. I feel like I have to watch it.
You have to do it for the James Bond culture, but
yeah,
it's
I can't not watch it. So I mean, it doesn't mean I'm gonna have to don't have to watch it over and over, But
What I told him is I said, okay, if you're gonna watch it and then get the Men in Black thing to erase it from your because it's
but
It's so bad I
have to watch
remember
it
it.
again.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
Don't.
honestly the only good thing about it is I still really like the song because I think Billie Eilish did
She did a great job.
amazing
Yes.
at that song.
She
Yeah,
did a great job.
yeah,
I do remember that because that got released before the
Yeah, it
film
did.
came out,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, this is good. And
it is. Yeah,
And
Hans
normally
Zimmer's on that too, which is crazy. He's
Oh, yeah,
he's in
the-
that
Wow.
song. I think he does the piano or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's crazy. He's involved with that
he's
song.
just in that Billie Eilish song.
Mhm.
I was going to say, please don't be in the rest of the film.
I don't know
do
who
that
did
to
the score.
yourself.
I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah.
he did. I don't know. Hopefully
Yeah.
not. But
Yikes.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
good thing this podcast is not about that movie,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
about
This is
Skyfall.
go-
Yes. well, yeah. So yeah, you go next, Josh. Your thoughts overall?
On the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I really
Well,
like.
unless
this,
you have
I mean,
more-
I really like this movie. I just,
Yeah.
I think Casino Royale is great too, and I just think this one's not quite. And to not to get into not in spoilers, but I think the reason for me is I think the action sequences in this are not as good. And I think a James Bond movie, that's what one of the key parts of it. And I think
CC
the ones
is appalled
I
right
think the
now.
ones in Casino Royale are better.
That's a hot take right there. What?
I need to watch Casino Royale again because it's been a
I
minute.
just watched it in the last year.
Okay.
I watched it
Because it's been a
sometime
while since I
last year.
saw this one too. Like it's been a little.
Yeah, it has
while.
been a while since
Yeah.
I've
Do you
That's it.
share that same sentiment?
I don't know because I'm trying to remember the action scenes in Casino Royale.
And that's the key. We're trying to remember in Casino.
Well, it's just I haven't seen it in a while.
because I can't remember them because I was bored.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Man, yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I don't know. But well, yeah, well,
But
I
also, I love so I will say what I love in this movie, which was intentional because this was the 50th anniversary when this movie came out of James Bond.
Okay,
And they also had, so that's why they had this multiple nostalgia nods,
Oh,
whatever
okay.
in
The
the
Aston
film.
Martin and
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah.
So that's I think was on purpose because it was good timing and
Like the-
insert those. Yeah.
Mentions the exploding pen.
Yes.
That was like a- yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I have some, but yeah. So any other general thoughts before we get into more specifics?
I mean, I still really like it. Like I said, I haven't seen it in a while, but it is very good. Yeah. Especially, well, we'll talk about the cast more later. I love Javier Bardem. Like just in
Gosh.
general, as an actor, he's
Yeah.
one of my favorites, and he's just so obviously he's great in this.
He's
He's
spectacular.
yeah, he is.
He's a specter.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm trying to think if I thought any differently of this movie because I haven't. It's got to be at least 5 years since I've seen this movie. So I was excited to come back to it
Oh,
because
wow.
I have seen it several times before that. And I do remember seeing it in theaters in 2012.
God, was it that long?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
That's
I feel
crazy.
old.
2012. Yep.
It is crazy.
I feel old.
When I started watching this, I was like, this movie's that old already?
You know.
Because it
Oh,
doesn't
gosh.
feel like it in any way. Like it doesn't feel like a 2012 movie at all. Like it.
Yeah.
So
It's a classic for sure. I think it's a classic.
yeah.
You know, it doesn't
Definitely.
age. It's not going to age
No.
horribly, you know,
No.
at all.
And I do think it's one of the better, like Bond movies always have really cool names for their movies, but this is, I think, one of the best
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
names too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's get into spoilers and talking more specifics. So, yeah, let's talk about that opening action sequence.
I actually have a funny but odd anecdote about Skyfall when I saw it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
saw it with my grandmother. And obviously there's a sex scene in the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first time I saw a sex scene with my grandma.
Oh.
And I remember
Nice.
going, Grandma, cover your eyes. You are too young for this.
You
And
just
that is how I
whatever. You just
remember.
were like,
I was like-
cover, yeah.
And she goes, that is my Skyfall anecdote.
Nice.
Yeah, that's yeah, that'd be awkward. I don't think I've ever watched anything like that with my grandmother.
No. I can't,
Never
I
happened
can't
again.
recall.
I just want to let y'all know that.
Yeah. First and last time.
First, last time at a Bond film.
Which I mean, it's a Bond film. You know that's gonna happen.
You want to know something? When I went into that movie, I'm actually a James Bond fan.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect that, and shame on me. I did not expect
Yeah.
my grandmother. Why did we see that? We don't know.
Yeah.
That is something. Yeah. In every Bond movie, you know, there's going to be a little bit of.
You know, there's gonna be something.
There's going to be a little something.
Just
Yeah.
happened to be watching it with my grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, the opening scene is crazy though. Like,
is.
and I like how it even, which they always do a good job with this, but I like how they transition the scene, the opening scene into the title
Title
sequence
sequence, Oh my
is
gosh,
always
yes.
so
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question. Like, because I mean, that's a staple too, and it's like, you know, some are better than others, you know.
Mhm.
So, what are your thoughts on this title sequence? How do you think it?
The actual title
Ooh.
sequence?
Yeah.
I think it was beautiful.
It is.
Like, I think Skyfall, and even though I don't like No Time to Die, those two to me are the most memorable.
For the
Out
title
of-
sequences.
Actually, Skyfall is my number one out of all the Bonds I've seen. A View to the Kill would probably be my second.
Ooh.
That one was good.
Mm-hmm.
That one was good.
trying to remember the title sequence though.
Duran
Great
Duran.
song too. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
such
song-
a
the
good
song-
song.
the
song,
That's
yeah.
my song.
Yeah, that song rules.
Duran. Yeah, so we like the song? Do you like
Oh,
the song?
the song is-
yeah.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
I feel like it
it's-
was played a lot.
It was, but like watching it again, and just hearing it, and yeah, the title sequence is also great. But I was like, man, this is still such a great
Yeah.
song and perfect choice for it. I always like who they pick, as like vocally, like for their movies, because you need to have a specific voice. You can't just pick anyone. You know, it has to have a specific sound
Yeah.
for a Bond movie. And one thing I will credit myself with is I was, before we knew anything about No Time to Die, I said Billie Eilish needs to be the vocalist because she has a
Really?
perfect Bond, like for like her vocal style. And I was so happy that they went with her.
So here's one of the questions I was going to ask is, so if you had to pick somebody now,
Oh God.
who would you pick to do the next?
No one, because the next Bond is probably going to be bad. No, I don't know.
You're not lying, unfortunately.
I hope that they make a big
it's getting
change.
it's
Yeah, I
getting
hope-
rebooted.
I
Daniel
hope-
Craig's not doing it anymore.
No,
so-
I know. They did my
I
man
think
bad though in that movie.
Maybe if her voice could mature a little, Olivia Rodrigo. She does a
Yeah.
good ballad.
Yeah,
she
you're
just
right.
would have to mature.
Yes.
Well,
like-
the movie's not coming out this year, so
So thank God.
She's got a
She's
couple
got at
years.
least 5 more years.
Yeah, that could
couple
work. I'm trying to think who else
She
would
could
be
do it.
like right now.
Maybe not Summer Walker. Oh, Summer Walker or SZA.
Oh, SZA would be great.
SZA would be good, but it would just I'd be curious to see. She would have to change her genre.
Yeah,
would be
but
a
like
genre
vocally,
switch.
like her voice though, I think would be
because-
perfect.
because
Yeah.
a lot of times someone else will write it,
Yeah.
and so that they just have to do the vocals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be a good choice too.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
Well,
ooh,
that
It
maybe
is
next-
always it's a key part to
It
each
is.
movie.
It
Yeah.
is.
when
And
they
like,
do
Yeah.
that's the
song.
thing. We were talking about No Time to Die. That is still
Yeah.
like, well, that's probably the best part of the movie is the
Yeah.
title sequence. Cause like
Yeah.
that's still really good. Obviously the song is great. So like in that aspect, the newest movie is good, but there's
Yeah.
just not a whole lot else.
You can just crap on that movie all day.
I know. I'm
could
trying not to spoil
not
anything. I don't want to. I don't want to
It's
spoil anything for
so-
Josh.
trying
But
back to
not veer.
Skyfall.
Yeah.
Back to Skyfall.
I'm just saying they did my man Daniel Craig dirty in that movie.
So
Anyway, yeah. Sorry, Skyfall. Yeah.
Yes.
No, but the song is still great.
Yeah.
it's impeccable.
Adele has a perfect voice
Yeah.
for it.
Oh my
No,
gosh, yes.
And is it Sam Smith for the next one? Right?
Yes, but his wasn't memorable to me
Oh, really?
because I felt like he whined.
Yeah, I don't like his
felt he
voice as much.
whined.
Yeah.
I just was like, please stop whining in the James Bond. Please.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his voice as much, but I did still really like the song.
Yeah.
But I wish someone else would have sang it. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Well, cool. Well, we'll talk about that one next week, right?
Oh, yeah, I know we keep jumping around.
We're jumping
this
around.
Is this is hard because since it's Bond, it's like you
There's
want
so
to
much
just
You
other
keep
have to,
going.
you have
Yes.
to,
Yeah.
you almost have to compare it to the other ones a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
What do you think of the title sequence? You didn't say anything.
Yeah. Oh no, I liked it. I think it. I think it was well. So the song, yeah, is definitely good. But like the animation, whatever you want to call that, that they, I think it was done. I think it was definitely one of the better ones. It's like I can't remember all of them anymore, but some, I the one that always stands out to me is Goldfinger because that one's.
Oh, yeah.
Goldfinger,
yeah.
that song.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
we're
that
gonna
song's
start.
great,
Don't
too.
get us started.
But like
I know.
just the just with the gold and stuff, like in the
Yeah.
body covered in gold and
60s
the,
nostalgia.
yeah, all
you know?
that stuff. Like
You know?
yeah,
Man, yeah, that is so cool. Yeah.
but yeah, this one was good. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Is it memorable?
I feel like it has doesn't. I don't know if it has anything that stands out like I was just mentioning with the Goldfinger. Like it feels like it's similar and been done before in general. I would say.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's it didn't seem different than like we could probably find a couple other ones, and if you took the music out and just kind of saw clips of it,
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh.
James Bond.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
right.
Like,
it is what it needs
It's
to
not
be.
like a.
It's not a
like,
bad thing, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really stand out as being extremely different either.
Right.
I think there's parts of it that do really stand out, but as a whole, yeah, I guess it's. Man, I think I have to go through all of them.
Yeah,
again. Like
that
it's
would
been a
be
minute since I've
interesting. I'm
seen
sure
all of
someone's
them. Yeah.
did a compilation
Oh,
on
definitely, yeah.
YouTube or something. You could.
I did
to
recently
watch
go
that.
through all the songs because,
Yeah.
man, I don't think
Yes.
there really is a bad one.
The Alicia Keys one. That one was. I was like, ma'am. How
Okay,
could
yeah.
you? Alicia, come on, girl.
Yeah. I know, and especially for Alicia Keys.
I was
Like,
like, come on. Because she's such a good ballad
Yeah.
writer, but let's not Skyfall.
yeah. Sorry, yeah, no, I was just saying I did go
It's all
through all the
about that.
songs recently and yeah. No, obviously the really old ones especially are just amazing. The songs like
Yeah.
that they do. Yeah. But
It's just an interesting, I guess, like thing that they started to carried on that still at this
Yeah.
point is part of what makes a Bond film a Bond film.
Bond film, yeah.
But
it is very important too.
yeah. But it's
it
just
being a
it's just
Bond.
like there's other movies don't do that.
No.
like you don't have.
And I hope they keep it going, although the newest Bond movie, a little different, the title sequence,
Is it?
in No Time to Die.
Yeah.
It's,
I just forgot.
yeah,
Jenny
I know.
Faye's movie out of
Sorry, I didn't
my
want to bring it back to that, but I'm just saying, in context with this, so
Well, I'll
I
let you
wish,
know what I think in 2 weeks.
yeah, I
I was gonna say, I
wish,
just get the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it.
yeah, no, I just wish it didn't feel as much Bond as some of the other ones, yeah.
I'm gonna be like my expectations would be so low that I'm gonna be like, guys, it wasn't
Yeah,
that bad.
Josh is gonna be like, "Hey, it
Keep
was pretty
them
good."
there because mine were high.
Yes.
And I was spicy. Come out of
That's
that.
true. Yeah,
I
you're gonna
was
probably come out of it better
spicy.
because I went into it with very high
Mine were like,
expectations. Yeah,
oh, yeah, Spectre, Skyfall,
yeah,
Yeah.
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Skyfall.
yeah.
So just other what are some of the other favorite scenes or interactions that you liked in the story?
I have one pretty early on. I really like the word association test in the underground MI6 base that he does.
Yes.
I like that a lot. It was good. Always responses to it were great.
We're wild.
Yeah.
They're all responses that, especially as a James Bond fan, I guess supposed to, like someone that's seen a lot of the movies, you're they're like little like makes you kind of smirk each one of his answers basically, like
Definitely.
and it's like just kind of yeah, that was good. I know you mentioned it earlier, but when he's meeting with Q the first time and he's like, "What did you expect? An exploding pen?"
Yeah.
Love that line because that's just nice.
Yeah, I was trying to think what are some of the other callbacks that you were mentioning.
Well, then with the Venture's Aston Martin,
Right. Yeah, even
pulling
that's
that out,
Martin,
and then when they're riding in it, and he's like hovering over the eject button, she says
right.
she makes the comment about like, "Oh, you're gonna eject me."
Yeah.
And
That's right.
that was funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
All right, so other scenes or anything that you wanted to point out that you guys liked?
Okay, there's a couple. For me, the standout ones are when he goes to, I guess, the Fight Club, and he meets what is the girl's name? The Bond girl's. What is her name? Oh gosh, please enlighten me. I know the actress's name, Bernice Marlowe.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look it up.
Oh, it's literally at the tip. But anyways, he meets the Bond girl of the film.
Mm-hmm.
That whole scene with the Chinese lanterns is so beautiful.
Yes.
That is standout. And then when they go to Macau, China, it was like a Call of Duty map.
Yeah, it was.
It was like a Call of Duty map.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is wild.
Yeah.
It made me scared of Javier Bardem's character.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
What's how do you pronounce that? Is that
Severine.
Yeah,
That's her name.
okay.
Severine.
Yeah.
That is, yep. Her performance I think was really great. And a tidbit, I think she said she had like a dream that she was gonna do a film with Javier Bardem.
Oh, really?
And it happened. And I was like, aw. I used to be obsessed with Skyfall.
Yeah, that's cool.
Obsessed.
So
I agree though, which we'll talk about more with cinematography, but yeah, that area in particular is just like you said, it was so beautiful.
It was like
yes.
I love that scene.
Yeah, that stuff, and then but like I said, that's where it's like I was trying to distinguish between like liking scenes for one reason versus like the cinematography, because when we get to cinematography.
Okay, yeah.
But I was gonna say, it's funny because you talk about the sex scene in the beginning when you were talking about the grandmother. But what I was gonna mention is I do feel like is lacking is actually any more real actual interaction with the other women, because I feel like it was a little underplayed in this.
I like that.
As a like a standard for most James Bond movies.
Yeah,
Normally
that's true.
There's a little bit more, like he definitely flirts with the other agent. Like remember, she's like shaving his face and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like nothing happens there, and then the main lady that's kind of with the bad guy, but not the bad guy, right? That you were just talking about, and it's the same with her. Like they kind of flirt a little bit, and that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas normally, in the classic sense, more things would happen.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I feel like though, because I think in the Daniel Craig series, I feel like they rounded out James Bond as a character. Like he was having a dilemma, like the main dilemma in Skyfall was the old dog new tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like it kind of would have been corny for him to be like, oh, I'm a ladies' man. Like they made the point, but it's also maybe like to show the maturity of the Bond character that like, yeah, he still likes us, but he's also having, I guess, his own internal turmoil.
Okay.
That's a little bit more sophisticated than like your typical like, I'm just gonna have sex with a bunch of women. Like I'm having issues.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's more,
yeah.
I think what I think Skyfall and all the scenes just do well as a whole is they just make it duplicitous. That kind of dual-sided issue. That was good word.
Duplicitous.
That was good. Yeah.
Breaking out the
I
vocabulary.
know. I got that from Dancy Drew.
Nice. No, you're definitely right with like all the Craig movies. I would say it's way more about Bond as a person more than they don't focus as much on although well I guess in Casino Royale one of the is kind of a big plot point, but they do a lot more because all the previous Bonds you don't know anything about Bond really at all, and with all the Craig movies they definitely do go into that a lot more. I feel like
he's had relationships with the women, even though like he's had multiple, but there was some level of, even like with the main girl, a level of a deeper exchange, because when like in the Chinese lantern scene, like because she has the tattoo on her arm, he's like, well, I guess he mentions like human trafficking, because I think that's what she was like a slave, but like there's like this exchange and like it's a deeper, and so then it's like you get invested, so it's just like, what are they gonna do? Then it's like, oh no. She's out, like, dang.
Yep.
Well, around then, I guess it would have been right before that too, like talking about other things that are like pretty iconic in most Bond movies is like the card game thing, and there's not really like, you see it for a second, right? But I was kind of that's one thing I didn't remember, because I thought there was more of like a card game in this one, and there isn't. So I was surprised by that this time watching it, because you see him for a second at the
yes.
what kind of table was it? I can't remember what they were playing.
They weren't playing craps, were they?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
they were playing craps.
Yeah, but like, because normally, obviously, a lot of time he would actually sit down, there'd be an interaction, he'd do a whole hand at least, right? So yeah,
Casino Royale.
Well, that's a big part of that one. But I mean, even in ones that aren't like that as much, he still
is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, actually, a lot of the movie is very different than like a typical Bond movie, like you were saying, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes you. I think it made me, because I feel like I became, like I was a Bond fan before, but I became a Bond fan after Skyfall, just because the movie as a whole like pulls you into his world, like, and it just makes it interesting. And I think like Skyfall in particular, like I even feel like Skyfall influenced John Wick. I said it, hot take.
I totally
Especially
agree.
4.
I totally agree. Yep. I actually when I was watching it, Claudia was like on the couch also, but she was doing something else, and I looked over, I was like, this definitely influenced John Wick, like, because I could see in certain scenes especially. I'm like,
especially with like the whole like the culture, because James Bond has a culture as a whole in his movies, and I feel like John Wick was like, oh really, let's make evil James Bond, Keanu Reeves. So and so they're trying to create that culture with the films too. And so I feel like Skyfall, I feel like everything, like the movie's just not, there's not a bad scene in it for me. Like everything just, I'm going to be honest with you, I remember the movie almost take by take, so I didn't watch it. Ironically,
Whoa, really?
I remember it. I was obsessed with Skyfall, and I can go.
All right. So you didn't even watch it recently?
I didn't watch it, and I refreshed just a little bit, and I was like, "No, I'm going into this because this is my movie."
Well, that's
my movie.
Now I understand why you came back for this one. I
was like, Skyfall.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's perfect. We have
great.
like the number one Skyfall fan on the pod.
Well, I never knew.
It's because it's some movies you watch and it's like, okay, like Casino Royale. All right. Spectre, I don't remember all of it, but Skyfall, I just remember just really being like, wow, like this is really good. Like,
there's
it's
definitely
a great movie.
Deeper emotional there because of everything with him, and then of course the bad guy. Yeah, what's his actual like name in the movie? I always forget. Silva.
Yeah.
And the mother figure they saw her as, and just kind of those dynamics, right? So it's definitely more personal, as the synopsis even said.
Right.
So in those cases, yeah, I mean, I know, yeah, totally. Yeah, that's gonna, you're gonna connect with the characters a little deeper than you traditionally do on these kind of movies.
Yeah.
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 That's why I like that we actually get a little bit about his Bond's family, which is
Yeah.
like awesome.
Yeah.
That because we don't really get any of that before this at all.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Right.
and that's
which,
a heavy, like with the whole ending of the movie, it's a lot of that involved with obviously where they're at. And yeah, so I think it's great that this movie revolves around that more because
Oh,
it
yeah.
hasn't been done before in any Bond movie before.
Mm-mm. And even that scene was just, not to cut to cinematography, but to lightly touch, it was beautiful.
Yes.
Like, I just remember sitting there being like, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like that, even the whole scene with when they go and they're winding down, like the suspense. Like, I think this one for me was like, I had so much, I was in suspense the whole time. I was just like in every subplot. I just was like, what's going to happen? Oh, wow. He's not going to get out of this one. He's not, oh, he got out of it. Oh no. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it kept me at the edge of my seat.
It
Every time
feels
I
like
watch
he's
it.
not going to get out of it, but it's Bond, so
He
he
is.
does,
But he had a
Yeah.
couple, but he also has a couple scratches. And he's
Right.
not perfect.
which is good too.
Which
I
is
like
what
they
I
do that.
loved.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You got shot in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
who knew? Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
He got.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like the what he was saying to Naomi Harris. What is her? Well, I mean, she's not really Moneypenny till the end,
Yeah.
but
Eve.
Eve. Well, he like the little jabs he makes at her afterwards
Mhm.
because he's like, "Well, you shot me," so you know, like, but like what he says to her and stuff is just it's great. Yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
Yeah. The little back and forth one of the
Mhm.
she's shaving his.
Well, no, there's something before that too. I want to say, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just great.
When they first sees her. Yeah.
Yes.
Like at the new headquarters, underground headquarters. So let's maybe talk a little bit of cinematography. So you,
Well, I got a couple. Sorry, I got
Oh,
a couple
okay,
more
okay.
before we get to that. I was just letting you guys know
well,
if you have
didn't
any other
jump in
notes.
then, so,
Well,
like,
no, I
figured
was
you
just
had-
talking. I didn't want to keep
Yeah,
going unless you
okay.
guys had anything else.
No,
but-
no.
Okay.
Like, go ahead.
Okay. I think it's crazy that Javier Bardem doesn't appear until halfway through the movie. Like exactly halfway through.
No, I hadn't thought about it. You're right.
I thought he was in sooner, and I looked at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I mean, he doesn't really need to be, but it is an interesting choice to
Yeah.
like we don't really know anything until at that point. Also, what was the other thing? Oh, I guess this can kind of go a little bit into cinematography, but it's just the scene when Silva takes his teeth out is crazy.
It's bizarre.
Like it all just starts drooping down like it's yeah. That's another thing I'm like I didn't remember fully, and then watching it this time I'm
Really?
like yeah, I was like dang I didn't remember that. Like I remember him taking him out, but I didn't remember all of that happening. It's yeah.
I remember looking at that scene. I'm like, how did he put his face back? That
Mhm,
was my
yeah.
first thought.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And then also, which we can also go into cinematography from this, is just the explosion at the house at the end. Done so well.
Yeah.
Like, I like talking about explosions a lot, especially recently, because a lot of them now don't look good as like older movies
Really?
because they rely too much on CG. And I know you were saying it's one of the hardest things to get looking well, right? Is like fire and that type
Yeah.
of.
Well, it's because of all the lighting that goes along with
Mhm.
it. And,
But wait, I'm curious. What movie did you see made you think that?
That
it
older
did-
movies or
Yeah, that older movies do it better.
oh, I mean, any of them really. Well, it's because they couldn't do it that way, so it had to be always practical. So they had to do at least some kind of explosion with it, or at least like
explode a model or something.
or yeah, it's normally would be miniatures that they would, which always looks good too because you could film it in a certain way and you would have no idea. Or they do some kind of, I guess a lot of like the old Hollywood tricks where they do like different perspective or to make it look a certain way or bigger than what it actually is. So I just think, yeah, so I just know a lot of newer movies I've seen recently. I'm like, man, it just doesn't look as good. Yeah.
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 I'm gonna look out for that because that's something you don't pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna take a look actually.
All right,
'Cause
yeah.
I'm like, Oppenheimer, you're up next.
Oh no, Oppenheimer.
Well, those were a lot of those
Oppenheimer.
were practical.
They were practical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything
Never
in
mind
that.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah. No, he's good, but there is a lot that are. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you can still make the choice in the modern day to do, but it's more complex, and it's a lot easier just to be like, let me go in post and drop an explosion in here.
Aw.
And also, I don't know how they did in this movie, but it looked very real.
No, it definitely.
It did.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, so speaking of this, that was definitely one of the standouts. Besides, yeah, the one you mentioned earlier.
The lantern scene.
Yeah, lantern scene.
Yeah.
Like, what's that location? And then so that
That's in Shanghai, right?
well, the other one was Shanghai, with the tall building and the
The empty
neon.
That was the one I was going to
That's
mention.
the other one I have.
Okay,
on it.
cool.
So like those three were and they're very distinct looking as well. But but yeah, going back to the mansion at the end, like that, even before the explosions, everything they did with like at dusk night and when they were prepping and all the scenes before things started exploding and they were just the bad guys are approaching, like all that, like the lighting in that was just looked so good. Like it just like there's everything, you could see everything, but it was still dark, and then the contrast of when things, and it was very, moonlight blue kind of, and then the contrast of when all the orange from the explosions and the fire and stuff, it looked, it was really
I noticed
cool.
that,
It looked
especially
good.
on the ice at the end. That was so cool how they did it. You would see a big contrast of both the blue and the orange was awesome.
I feel like to your point when you said that how Javier Bardem didn't come in towards the middle of the film, do you think like the film plays into a lot with duality? Like
It seems like it
could be
from-
two villains,
Yeah,
light and dark. Like, do you feel like? Because I felt like that.
definitely. Yeah, so that could have been part of the choice to do it that way. Yes, the first half is a whole completely different thing. Yeah, then yeah, that would make
the
sense.
second,
Because I don't know why else you wouldn't give that guy as much screen time as possible.
He
Because
was great.
he's incredible.
He's
yeah,
a great villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
I was about to say, I think that's one thing I almost, wish that he was on the screen more. You had a little more with him. But yeah.
But I feel like because I feel like after that I don't remember the other villains very well. I thought they were corny. Javier Bardem like set the bar here.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'm saying? And then Inspector, it was the guy, and I was just kind of like, okay, well,
He
he's
wasn't
not.
as good. Yeah.
I
Well,
guess.
I would say of the Craig ones, it's definitely him in this, and then, but in Casino Royale, I mean, because it's Mads Mikkelsen, he's very good too. I would say them two are the two top for these movies, at
especially. And again, and maybe this is just why me, but why Casino Royale is just a little. It's like I feel like Casino Royale just had, in a good way, has like every little piece of like the classic James Bond movie. Like you're talking about, like the with the card games, and like even him playing the villain, like just looks like a James Bond villain.
He does, yeah.
You're like perfect casting.
Yeah.
Anyway, not to get sidetracked, but yeah. So I thought that stuff at the end, but then the stuff in Shanghai with that, I mean that. I don't know. I didn't look it up, but I'm sure they had to do some CG to remove crew and things, because that all glass floor where he takes out the guy. I mean, like
That had to have been a nightmare to get. Yeah, you're right. Because there's so,
there's
all the
so many
reflections,
reflections, but yeah, it's so cool how like he uses the reflection to like hide himself, and then
That was the best.
and then just the neon lights coming through, and like that whole it's just so pretty, and yeah, I love that scene. But yeah, also thinking about the logistics of trying to actually do that,
Try
I'm
to
like,
do that,
I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
They had to like probably CGI out like camera crew and stuff. Like,
But I'm trying to think. Didn't Batman do something similar in the Nolan films? Wasn't there a similar scene? Because I feel
probably, yeah.
glass, that much glass.
that scene. Because once again, John Wick, I feel as though copied that.
Yeah, John Wick.
Oh,
probably,
for sure.
yeah. John Wick did. Yeah.
Side notes. But I feel like I was watching. I think the first or the second one when Batman. He was Batman fighting like some group of bad guys on a building, and I don't know. I think those movies came before Skyfall,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it kind of like was similar, like fighting.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's not a new trope, if
Yeah.
you will, but I don't know. I felt like that was similar or something.
Yeah, I'm
like
trying to
that.
remember the scene.
I haven't.
It's like the more
I mean,
the
I've-
Rottweilers come. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I watched Batman Begins and
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight not that long ago. It's in the last like, couple of years, but I had not watched the third one in a while though. But I don't remember. No, I'm saying it's not. I just don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen them in a long time. I do. I want to watch them again. I'm actually watching The Batman again because I loved it and haven't seen it in a while. Sorry, another tangent, but so we were talking about Batman. I wanted to mention that another great cinematographer. Another one of the best, right? One of your favorites. I remember you were talking about the Batman, right?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
I
Batman.
don't remember his name, but it was
Yeah.
someone else. He said it
I'm drawing a blank who it is.
did a
too.
lot of stuff recently.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank who that is.
That's another one with hot takes for me.
Yeah.
Uh oh.
They will not be mentioned here.
Well, actually, I'm going to put him down, Matt Reeves. That'll be another director we can do
Yeah,
because he
oh,
he
yeah.
has a couple, not too many movies. But
Yeah,
we could put him in.
You're right. He needs to be on there.
Yeah. Planet of the Apes, I think is what he
yes.
did.
Some Planet of the Apes. Yeah. Any other standout stuff visually that we haven't talked about?
Well, I wanted to say just I really like how, and I want to hear like, cause I know we talked about Roger Deakins a lot in some of the other movies recently, but I really like how he plays with shadows in general, especially in this movie. But is that something he does in a lot of movies? I think I remember you talking about it in
Yeah.
Road to Perdition,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah.
And I think you said it like talking about like at least the edge of the lighting or something he
Yeah.
does in a specific way, right?
Yeah.
Does he do that in this
Well,
one
he
as
does
well?
a lot of like really broader soft light a lot of
Okay.
times, and which is very different than what I'm drawing a blank of the guy's name that was the cinematographer on the first couple of movies before he passed. That was with
I had his name in my head for a while because we talked about him a lot,
Yeah.
but now I forget. Yeah.
But his stuff is a little bit more harsher contrast, and so there's
Right. Because he's the one that did Road to Perdition,
yes.
not Roger Deakins. Sorry.
Yes,
yeah.
but like his
It was
stuff is
him
a little
in
harder. It was
American
a little
Beauty,
harder contrast on the
Yeah.
shadows, whereas like Deakins does a lot. Like the stuff's a lot more soft, and you see the more of the gradual gradation of from like light to dark most of the time. I mean, it doesn't mean you always, but like that's kind of just because he likes to use large soft sources for the lighting, so it feels more natural. Because that's normally, I mean, if it's like sunlight or natural light,
Yeah.
it's normally more that way naturally anyway.
Well, the only other one I wanted to mention that I guess kind of plays in that too is just the very, very opening where it's just him very far away
Mm-hmm.
and he comes all the way up. Yeah, that's so cool how they do that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
love them starting the movie that way too. It was really cool.
Oh yeah.
And just when he gets up close, how they it's just his eyes and then the shadow like around. Yeah, it was really good.
Yep. Yeah, I do remember actually. Like, I mean, there's a lot of nice. But I remember like when watching the open, I was like, oh yes,
Yep.
Deakins.
I know right off the bat, I was like, I had to write that down like immediately. The very first shot.
I forgot to mention in that when he was riding the motorcycles. There's a couple close-ups of Daniel Craig that look really bad.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was like, that was not a good composite or something. It was like obvious.
because so it's a number.
When the wider shots
try to put it
the
like
wider
his face
shots,
on it.
but when they go to a close-up where you just see like him riding and it's just like him and the background's like it just looks bad. But the wides are all like it's a stunt double just driving it, but yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Did you have anything else in there? Or you gonna...
No, I don't think so.
So let's talk about the score.
Okay.
So I have a note in it about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I don't.
You go ahead.
I'm going to talk about it for a while. So
That's why
I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I feel
like I've been talking a lot already. I want to hear you guys.
All of us have been.
All right. Yeah, Thomas Newman again.
Yes.
Well, my first note was just to talk about the song, which we already did.
Yeah.
I just think they did a great job with the song Skyfall. But for the score, the main thing, I wanted to compare it to Mission Impossible because he does this thing which I love. It's also funny when you think about it, but like they go hard with the bongos in this, and it's the thing in this is the thing in the scores of Mission Impossible 2, and it's like it's always been a thing in that too, and it's not in a lot of Bond stuff, but I noticed it in this score. I like he does a good mix of not just classical like orchestra type instruments, like he adds some other stuff, and I like that he actually does at one point the actual Bond theme on electric guitar like it is in the original. One thing I know is this is very guitar nerdy though. But sorry, I have to mention the last two notes of that main theme, he plays it differently than the original version of it.
Okay.
So obviously someone re-recorded it. Like they didn't just because he, instead of picking the last two notes, he actually slides down the last note.
Oh.
And I was like, wow, that's an interesting choice. But everything else was the same. But I was surprised by that. So I don't know why. It just
I think that's interesting that you picked that up. You have a good ear.
well,
Because now I'm gonna listen. Now I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna listen to it because it's like, huh.
it's just the end part. I think the rest is pretty much spot on.
Yeah,
to
it felt like spot on because
same tone even.
Where it comes is when they pull out the Aston Martin. And and it brings in, and it's like the classic. Because I mean, obviously they're using versions of it earlier. Yeah. But it's not.
It's not
that.
Not that with
and
that
then
instrument.
It plays the vintage version of it. Yeah. Basically, when you see the vintage car and
it's perfect time to do it.
It is. Yeah, and it's like all the nostalgia feels at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
And my only other thing is with the score in general, the way it's mixed and mastered is incredibly good. Like this is not something that always is the case with scores, but not even like how low or high it is in the mix of with everything else in the film, but just if you were listening to the score on its own, everything is so balanced so well. I was like amazed by it because that's not always the case in every movie, and sometimes it's intentional in some movies, but I was just, that blew me away too.
Well, I feel like it's I mean James Bond in general, the score becomes a character at moments, right?
Oh, for sure.
Right, but it's not all the time. And it definitely, so there's it's like it needs to be able to like almost disappear sometimes and then and be very prominent in your face almost at other times, which is not, I mean, not everything does it that way, like a lot of movies.
And because we've been talking about it because last week was the only time we didn't have Thomas Newman doing every score of his.
Yes.
Is we were talking about how you even picked up on it now, his style a little bit.
Yes.
And
it was because the movie before that, right? The movie before that was like
Revolutionary Road.
I was like, oh, this is Roger Deakins again. Oh, this is Thomas Newman again. Like I picked up on it without even looking, even though I didn't really know ahead of time.
I like that because you mentioned, and this is a good point, a lot of times he is very subtle with his you mentioned this one, I remember, on American Beauty, right? With like those
the chords, the gentle chords.
Yeah, I love that. And he does that in this but I mean, because it's a Bond movie, like he still goes pretty out of the ordinary for what he normally was doing with a lot of these other movies. But there's still at moments where I can definitely, it's his type of character to it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And if I was being honest, like I didn't pick up on any of that. To me, it just was like, it just feels like it's a Bond.
Well, I mean, it's a good Bond score.
That's it's so funny. So now that you say those things, like when I do go back and rewatch it, I'm gonna think about that because I'm just because the score didn't stand out to me. Like, you know, of course, like, you know, I was like, okay, cool. But then like when you said like the score becomes a character, and I'm like, when I think about when the theme came up at that section when James Bond got the Aston Martin, like he was becoming himself again, which is James Bond. So it's just kind of like, you're right. You know, so now it's like, I want to listen to that, you know, because like it disappeared at times. It came in, I was just like, oh, okay, it's a score.
Well, I mean, if it's not something like you're focusing on, like for a lot of people, it's like it's supposed to just support what's on the screen. Like that's the point of a score, you know? So, and a lot of times if like just anyone watching a movie picks up on the score and is like bothered by it, it's like that means they did a bad job.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like it's supposed to kind of, like you said, disappear into it and be and kind of bring up what is being shown on the screen,
Right.
which means they did a good job if that happens. You know, that's yeah. That's it. I don't think I have anything else with.
One thing I forgot to mention, and just like scenes and stuff. Then the final scene of the movie, when he returns to the office, and it's like also like the nostalgia setup.
Yeah,
where it's back to like a male M, and then having Moneypenny there, and it's basically like going back to the '60s Bond.
yeah,
Because technically this is before that anyway, because Casino Royale is his first kill, so he becomes a 00, or his second kill will become 00, because that black and white scene at the opening of that, remember, is like his first or second kill, whatever he has to do to become a 00. And so it's technically, I mean, in a loose, because obviously they don't keep a very tight timeline of James Bond, but theoretically it in some way takes place before even the Sean Connery movies.
So is it a prequel technically?
Yeah, in a loosely, like a loose, like, yeah. And so then if you look at that, then you have Quantum of Solace, and then you have Skyfall, and then M dies, and Judi Dench version of M dies,
yeah.
and then this new guy takes over, and then he like it's the man, and then it's like, and then Moneypenny's now at the desk, and then it's like all that kind of setup
It's like
of like
his begin. Really?
It's like to me, like it was just one of those things that I thought of when I watched it the first time. Thought of it again this time, because then they do all that, and then they do the little closing with the like thing, and it says the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
I feel like that confuses it for me, because then because when I was watching Skyfall, I'm just like, man, they're really teasing him like the end. I feel like Skyfall, Inspector, and obviously No Time to Die.
the one that shall not be named.
Yeah.
The Achilles heel. Anyway, I feel like Skyfall was just, I felt like it just was winding things down for him.
Yeah.
And I just always felt like it just is, they kept playing with my emotions too much. Like I kept feeling like he was just going to retire. And he's just always, that he's tired and that he wants to be done. And Spectre, he wants to be done.
Yeah. Well, I think it's still chronologically, I think it still is that way. I think you're saying it's more of an homage, right?
I think definitely an homage, because I just feel like they just,
well, I mean, it
somewhat, but because
they again, like,
because they don't say for certain like
there's no like hard rigid timeline to James Bond movies, but Casino Royale definitely is taking place as like his first mission and his like second kill, that, and then so he can get his 00. It's literally what they say in that. So then he becomes a 00 agent. So he was not at the opening scene of that.
Well, it's also like just the Bond in general, like they're a little loose with that kind of thing, because it's like also the fact that like, hey, you're still Bond, but you're a whole different actor. It's like you kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, right? Because it's like it's supposed to be the same person, but then they look different, right? Because it's
100%. Like there's
so that's always kind of been a thing too, I guess, with the Bond
100%.
movies.
I feel like it's like thrown, because I'm like, I don't know, in my head, like especially like the Vesper and Casino Royale, like really did a number on him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like she was the beginning, I feel like, of the end. Like after Casino Royale, she dies. Spoiler. He kept, I feel like he kept looking for relationships. You know, and so I feel like
just to play devil's advocate on that, or those were the things that hardened him, and then losing Judi Dench to then like go beyond. So then the Bond you see like in Connery and where they're just like so much more disconnected from and don't have any close relationships with people, is because they've lost all these people earlier in their career.
that is true.
Just to play that.
That's true, but like,
I'm not saying, because I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what
like,
you're saying.
I feel like I need to watch them, because I always thought that they were goofy. I was like, he don't care about nothing. He's just a goofball. Like he has no depth. Maybe because like those characters, they just maybe like sure that would probably be the case, that like they just have no depth. Like I never felt
some
like
of that's of the age when the film was made.
True, because
Yeah.
I just always felt like James Bond was just a goofy goober. Just, I'm James Bond. Like,
Yeah, they don't really give him much
they don't
depth in
give
a lot
him
of those.
much.
No.
And so the Craig films, because even Pierce Brosnan,
Yeah.
I did not like Pierce Brosnan at all. Refused to watch his movies. But like Craig, like he just gives me so much depth. I refuse.
Goldeneye,
do it.
Goldeneye
I would
is
say
great.
just watch Goldeneye. You don't have to watch
The
other
only
ones.
thing from that era of James Bond that I will even consume is just the game. The PS1 game with the big head mode.
Oh.
That's all you get from that.
The PS1.
Goldeneye?
Goldeneye was on
Goldeneye,
PS.
Yeah.
big head mode.
Goldeneye, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean that
played
game
it.
was the
That was
best.
iconic.
Goldeneye movie though.
Wasn't that Pierce? That's
Yeah,
Pierce,
it's his first one. Yeah,
Okay.
which is what the game is based on.
Yeah,
That one's good,
it is good.
and that actually the same. The guy that directed that one also directed Casino Royale.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
Nice.
I forget the guy's name, but they were like, hey, you did a good job rebooting this last time. Why don't you do it again? But I don't, at this point, I really, because it's been a while since I watched other Pierce Brosnan ones. None of the other ones stand out at all.
They
Goldeneye is the only one that's good. The
just
rest of them
don't
are probably
remember
just
anything.
mediocre.
Yeah.
They
And
are,
I feel
yeah.
like maybe that's why, like, I think that's the one thing that, like, kills the James Bond series is that, like, for me, out of the whole Craig series, like, most people talk about Skyfall and Casino Royale because I always feel like it is either between one of those two. But then, like, the other ones just fall flat. Like, they just become like, oh, it's a James Bond film.
Yeah.
Here it comes, Sam Smith. Or, No Time to Die. Like, I just feel like
Yeah.
if the movie was better, like, I still probably wouldn't have remembered a lot from it. Like, it became corny. And so I feel like Skyfall made me take it more serious.
That was part of the problem with Quantum of Solace too. Yeah.
Was
You're
it
right.
corny? Because I didn't
Well,
see
it
Quantum of
was-
Solace either.
No, it was just
Well, that one.
corny's not the right word.
Yeah,
It's-
that one was like half written by Daniel Craig. And
it
stuff.
was. They were written it on
Daniel!
right on the
Because it was
on the fly.
It was during the
Writer's
they were
strike,
in the
yeah.
middle the writer strike, and they had to film it anyway, and so they
Wow.
the last writer's
Because
strike.
I feel like Quantum of Solace is the Daniel Craig film that nobody cares
Yeah.
about.
yeah, it's because
Nobody
it's
cares
just
about
kind of
it.
it's just kind of
It just seemed there.
yeah, it's
But
just
from that perspective, then it's like they probably did as best they could in
Yeah.
that situation.
yeah.
Because it's not horrible, but like it is the worst of. Well, no, not anymore. It was the worst of the Craig movies until.
Yeah.
Time to Die.
Yeah.
Just
Anyway,
into our eyes.
Anyway,
anyone who watches this that loves that movie is gonna hate this
They
pod.
probably are.
We're crapping over
Whatever.
that movie so much.
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So themes and messages. What do you think? Are there some underlying themes that the director or writers are trying to say through this film?
I don't think specifically like to the audience, like I don't feel like there's like a general point, but it is that duality that it is man versus man, man versus himself, then man versus man versus his past. And everything I feel like just in the film accumulates. And just accumulates, and how much can one man take before he sky falls?
There you go.
I'm gonna roll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that was
good.
I don't have. I'm letting you guys go because I'm always bad at this part. I gotta think about it.
Well, I'll try to. I guess the. I mean, it is way more subtle if there is anything, because it's not what these films are about, right?
Right, it's not something about a different
But but there, I think there is. I mean, there's something there with the. Well, I guess so. Technically, right. Where you kind of alluding to with the duality thing, like you have Bond, and then whatever, Javier Bardem's Silva, yeah, like
Is it Silva? No,
Yeah.
I'm second guessing.
I don't
Silva's
even
right.
remember.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
that's
gonna
right.
lie, I never
Silva.
felt like I heard his name in the
Silva is right. Yeah,
It
Silva.
was just Harvey Bardem.
I know that's what. Yeah.
But
I was like,
right,
you did great.
they
Yeah.
basically both came up through the same program, right?
Yeah.
So then it's like, what is it? You know, I guess what I say, like nature versus nurture kind of thing. Like what, why did one go this way and end up where this path, and why did the other one go this way and end up this path? Now they both have issues, right? Like James Bond's not perfect, but like how he deals with it, he has an outlet that's maybe a more productive way to deal with it. Maybe that's the right way to say it, but like he, you know, at least is choosing to try to do things for the better. And then you have this other guy that's just trying to cause destruction.
I feel like it's man versus government, because their government failed them some way, somehow. MI failed them. And I feel like that if there's any like undertone, I definitely felt like there was that, like, the government doesn't work for anybody. They either become a crazy sex addict, cool guy, or a terrorist.
Yeah.
Sex addict, cool guy.
That's what he is. I mean, for lack of a better term, I'm done using my big words.
That's how he should introduce him instead. My name is Bond, James Bond. He says, I'm a cool guy.
It's like he's standing up at his AA meeting.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Bond, James Bond, and I'm a sex addict, cool guy.
I feel like that was the point, that MI just, it doesn't, like, it's not long term. You can't handle it. It's just a lot. You face evil.
Right. So, or is it that you shouldn't rely on the government to decide who you become?
Wow. That is profound. I like that better than what I said. Just scratch everything that I said. That was the best.
Thanks.
Because technically,
but what you said got me thinking that way.
Because technically, because they were relying on M, who is an entity, to figure out their mommy issues, because they both have mommy issues.
Right. Or to give them, that's what they were relying on, to give them purpose, to give them an identity. Yeah, and maybe you should just figure out who you really are. And
they never have any deeper substance in life, so I don't know. That's deep.
The only thing I can think of, because this, I mean, you guys pretty much nailed it. I don't really. The only thing I could think of was this movie has a little bit to do with betrayal, because of how Silva, or how he betrayed. Wow, I'm forgetting her name now.
Judi Dench?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also if we talk about like what you guys were saying about the government MI6, like them betraying, because when they're arguing with them, and them betraying, I guess, the rest of the government, or asking them like, how are you guys going to solve this? Or because remember in that scene where she's like basically yelling at them about it. I mean, like, what are you guys doing now with like your whole operation and all that? So I guess that's a little bit to do with it too. But I think it's mainly what you guys said.
No, but there's that in there, like in the plot of like, like, you know, no matter what government is, like, they're not perfect. But then, you know, and it's like the oversight of like, well, you guys screwed up, and then they're trying, and of course, it's like, you know,
maybe
like,
I should say betraying your country. There you go.
I
That
guess,
might be a
but
better
like,
one.
I feel like,
but they didn't do that. It's like they're just not perfect, and so then, right?
But I think from the other perspective, I think they were thinking that
right
way. Yeah.
But I feel like there's not. I don't know. Maybe because I just don't take the villains and Bond seriously, because they're just a joke to me. They don't really seem to be. I mean, except for Javier Bardem's, because he seemed like a legitimate like terrorist. Like, he had their cyber terrorism, which I think was interesting. I thought that was interesting because, you know, he committed the act at MI6. So it's like, oh wow, I actually take him seriously. But like, I feel like, I don't know, it never feels like Bond is trying to save the world. I just never felt that.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's just Bond. He just so happens to work for the UK government. Big whoop. Like,
yeah.
So like, those stakes in that way just never were high for me.
Yeah.
So it just kind of like, I know part of me is like, what's the point of the
Well, I
government
mean, it's not like,
aspect?
it's not like he's saving the world, because he always says, even in, was that in GoldenEye, where the other double O agent. He says for England, James, right?
Yeah.
So it's always for England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is there's they do
I guess
they underplay that a little bit more, underplay that part a little bit more on in the Daniel Craig ones than they did in the earlier movies where it's like way more. But
yeah. Also, I have to mention the scene that we get introduced to Silva. Just how good Javier Bardem is in that scene because how long is his speech? And he's slowly walking towards him, and there's no cut.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just going off and he's walking slowly. That has to be at least 5 minutes long, if not more.
It was pretty long.
Yeah, that was great.
I would like to see if there's anything. I'd like to read the score, and I would like to know how much of his stuff was improv. Because I feel like, because in No Country for Old Men, that made me a Javier. I said because his character reminded me of that. He just
Anton Chigurh.
Oh my gosh, so good. And part of how much of that was off script.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or is the writing that good?
I mean, maybe. I mean,
I don't know, but I'm so glad you mentioned No Country for Old Men because that's one of my favorite movies.
Side note, that's great. Go watch it.
It is, yeah. We got them on the list, Coen Brothers.
yeah.
That's a good
Yeah, at some point
one.
we'll do the
That's a good
Coen
one.
Brothers.
There you go. We'll bring you back for that one for sure.
I could talk all day about that one.
Me too.
That one's a mind boggler.
Yeah.
All right, so we do a little trivia. Some little trivia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it says in the 50 years of James Bond movies, this is the only second one in which Bond suffers a gunshot wound. He was also shot in Thunderball
I'll say, what's the other one? Oh, Thunderball.
during
Dang, that far back?
the Junkanoo chase.
Okay. I don't know. Haven't seen that one in a while either.
Is that a Connery one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I only.
Although I
watched
do
certain
really
Bonds.
like Thunderball. That is one of the better Connery ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel Craig actually performed the stunt of sliding down the escalator rail.
Nice.
Oh.
So the porcelain bulldog on M's desk, which she later gives to Bond, is draped in the Union Jack. These bulldog figurines were created by Royal Dalton during World War II to represent patriotism. In Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy in 2011, Sir John Hurt, the head of MI6, has 2 Royal Dalton bulldogs sitting on his desk.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Cool. This
Oh.
seems like better trivia than we've gotten the last
Yeah.
couple weeks. We
Let's
didn't
say
have much the last couple weeks.
This is the final of 23 James Bond movies for trumpet player Derek Watkins, who had worked in the music
Whoa.
department as a trumpeter
Wow.
on every James Bond movie since he was 17 years old when he worked on Dr. No in 1962.
What a legend.
Watkins died in 2013,
Aw.
4 months after the release of this movie. So he would have probably done the next one if he was still alive. But
Yeah.
wow, that's cool.
That is awesome.
So the role of Kincaid, Albert Finney, was originally written with Sean Connery in mind.
Sean.
Yeah, originally wanted Connery to come out of retirement and make a surprise cameo.
You just say no.
But
He
Sam,
was like,
Sam
no.
Mendes told the Huffington Post there was a definite discussion about Connery playing Kincaid way early on. But I think that's problematic because to me it becomes it would take you out of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Connery is Bond and he's not going to come back as another character. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would have been kind of corny because I feel like that's where, obviously, it was starting to veer like that towards the end of the movies, as we know.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig and bonded with Javier Bardem on the set over their shared love of rugby. In his youth, Craig played for Hoylake Rugby Football Club in Merseyside, and Bardem played for Club de Rugby in France.
How does somebody figure that out?
Just dudes being guys.
They even made the Spanish national team
Nice.
underage level.
Someone's like, "Oh, I overheard your conversation that you two both like rugby. Can
Yeah.
this be a trivia question?" I love it.
There were 85 versions of James Bond's Tom Ford suit tailored made for the opening chase sequence. 30 were made for Daniel Craig and 30 for his double and stunt double. Each version of the suit was made specifically for a particular scene of the opening sequence.
So where are they now? Are they?
He's
floating
got
in the
all
Tom
30.
Ford
Just-
River? Like, where are they
Man.
at?
By the way, that is a great suit.
Yeah, he has great suits.
Yeah.
For sure. This isn't Men's Warehouse. This is Tom Ford.
That's
Oh.
right.
Daniel Craig was invited by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II to appear as James Bond in the promotion of the opening ceremonies of the 2012 Olympics in London.
Did he
Wow.
do it?
Yeah, and so he
I mean,
should.
it's like you have to. If the queen is like asking you to do
Yeah.
something, it's like you can't just be like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do it."
He's
So
like, no,
he-
I'll be myself.
Craig showed up as James Bond and met the Queen to escort her safely to the stadium from her helicopter.
I love that, actually.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
That's cool.
So here's a question, though. I guess because, Buzz. Who do you think is going to be the next James Bond? Because I got picks.
That's a good question. Let's just read this. This is
It's a good, yeah.
I was going to.
We should talk about that.
We
yeah.
should talk about it. Dame Judi Dench has more screen time in this movie alone than Desmond Llewellyn had in 17 movies as Q. That's crazy.
What? Really?
it's a
Jeez. I mean, I guess Q wasn't in it much, but
no,
still.
makes her
Dang.
makes her portrayal of M the most reoccurring character in the franchise after Bond himself.
Wow.
Wow.
But I don't know. We don't need to. That's enough trivia because we could probably keep going because there's probably so much stuff because it's Bond and it's
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So who can play the next?
Some people said Idris Elba. No.
I think he's getting a little too old at this point.
Not really that, but he's Luther. He's
Yeah,
already
I'm sure
Luther.
he's done Luther. Yeah.
Nah.
Which is, kind of close. Yeah,
It's
that's
too
already,
close.
yeah.
Henry Cavill's playing, I think was rumored, he's Argyle.
Yeah. I mean, he would be my number one, but
Really?
yeah,
Really?
probably. Yeah. I mean, I think because who else, without it being too old, like, because there's some other ones, but I think they would be too old to start if they're going to do like a few. You know what I mean?
I was thinking Louis Tan, who played, if anybody saw Mortal Kombat, which I did not like, but I could talk. I could talk forever about that one. He was the main guy, Cole. Louis
Look him
Tan.
up.
I think he said he wanted to play James Bond. I think he has the swagger to do it, and I support that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him because I didn't see that movie.
But do you also think James Bond? I have a feeling she might be a woman. Because
The next Bond? Yeah.
because of, as we know, Jared in the movie that shall not be named, teasing. I feel
Yeah, they were.
they were.
Yeah.
She's gonna be a woman.
Yeah.
So then, would she continue the timeline or being completely different? And that's
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I don't know.
This guy could do it, yeah.
He could
And
definitely do it.
he is English, right? He's not.
I think he is
it
English.
says half. He's Chinese, half English, which
He
means
is English. Yeah, he's English.
yeah.
I think he could do it. I think he has
Because
the
they
swagger.
they only allow English actors to play James Bond.
Oh,
Yeah.
Idris Elba is English. Where do you think he was from? I think he's from America. I think of Denzel. Sometimes I think of Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
I know.
He was good. Did you
Denzel
watch?
could do it.
Did you watch the?
Denzel can do anything. He literally could do
You
anything.
do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Idris Elba. He was good in that the Hijack series, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Yeah, he was good in that.
I was gonna say Liam Neeson could be James Bond. But
No.
oh, he's a particular set of skills.
He's too old.
He is.
Yeah, he is. The only thing I do want to say, which when we were talking about Bond, I think a while ago, I mentioned this, but I think they need to make it a period piece and put it back in the 60s.
110%.
I think
They
it'd
need
be
to make it fresh.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because I feel like John Wick is going to if the next or when the next movie comes out, John Wick is going to compete with it.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of tired
Yeah,
of it a little bit.
yeah, because for action. Yeah,
Well, I kind of want it to be like. I don't want it to be like. action so much,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely a heavier focus on the espionage adventure. Because
Yeah.
I feel like we don't have enough adventure movies, and I feel like espionage adventure, but with the depth still. Not
Yeah.
like corny,
Right.
you
I
know,
agree.
but like there's still, like Uncharted. Like Uncharted, how that is.
Okay.
Except for not the movie, the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say the movie was not good.
Specific.
Yeah, the game. I got you.
Yeah.
But then that's just Indiana Jones. But I understand.
No,
but
you're right, but no.
But I know what you mean, like that kind of more adventures. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I feel like that would give it, because no other movie series, right, besides Taking Back Indiana Jones
Mm-hmm.
aside, has that adventure. Every action movie's starting to look alike,
That is true. Yeah.
because I feel like the Nolan films and these Bond films have influenced a lot of other action films that they copy off of that.
Speaking of Nolan, there has been rumors that he would be the director because they also the
That would
the
be
next Bond?
sick.
Mm,
You were so excited,
I
and then
went
now
through
you're
so
like,
many emotions
yeah, you did. And
because
like,
I didn't like Tenet.
You didn't. Yeah. Well, Tenet's
Really?
a little different. You didn't like Tenet. I like Tenet,
The
Yeah.
sound was awful.
well,
but that's not the. That's not. Like, that doesn't makes the movie.
But then it's just like, then are you gonna make James Bond the multiverse then? Because
no,
if Nolan does it, he's gonna make it like
no,
some
no.
multiverse thing.
Not gonna be multiverse, but
I'm
like
gonna be mad.
he's not gonna make it sci-fi.
He's gonna
If he
try
makes
to.
it sci-fi, I am boycotting James.
No, he might.
Calling the cops.
He might
Yeah.
not. He might not play out the sequence. He might not play out the sequences in order. No.
Yeah, it'll be.
No. But like,
They'll all be out of sequence.
let's back up a little bit. The Batman movies that he did. Those were not. He didn't try to make them sci-fi. He didn't try to.
Yeah.
So I think he can do a movie. Well, an Oppenheimer wasn't.
True. I mean,
Yeah.
okay,
So
but
I think he can do it.
emphasis on the adventure,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Oppenheimer is not an adventure.
No.
Neither was Batman, even though it was good. But
Like
not
the
so
Dark
like,
Knight is like an amazing
like
movie.
it just needs to be in the middle. It can't be too serious, but
Yeah.
it needs
Yeah.
to be lighthearted. But
That would
not
be the
dumb.
only. I would say that's the only. That would be the only. I think negative of having Nolan do it, because it would stay in the very serious and even be more serious than what. Because like
Yeah.
the Daniel Craig stuff is more serious than like previous stuff, and then Nolan would take that even more serious, which
He
I
would
think.
take it-
Yeah, but he
it would
still
take
had
itself
the
too
James
serious.
Bond quips though, like which is what he's always had.
You're
So
right.
like he still had that in the
Daniel Craig, I know,
yeah.
but I'm saying like, but I feel like Nolan would push that even more
But
to
I
the
feel like the
seriousness.
film some way somehow would also be dark, because he tends to
Yeah.
tends to film dark, and I feel like that would just do the movie. Then it would become Skyfall,
yeah.
which had that element of Nolan always puts time in his films, and I felt like Skyfall had to do with time, and I'm just kind of like, yeah. I feel like I just went through the gamut of emotions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I don't know.
I'm-
I just know there was some strong rumors around it, like in the last year.
I'm
that-
just trying to think of other like younger British actors too that like could,
yeah.
since you're talking about they need to be British.
Well,
I
and
don't
they-
know. It's just like, or like a younger one that's like more popular now that's like coming up.
The
you
kid
know?
who played Saltburn, the guy in Saltburn, Felix. Did you see it? He doesn't have the swag.
No, and he's got a
Like
he's
the
got a
jock.
weird face for it. I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's
I don't
kinda
think
funny.
it. Oh wait, which one are you talking about?
Not the. No spoilers.
Are you
but
talking
not
about the guy from Euphoria?
The tall one.
Okay, that's the guy from
I
Euphoria.
think he could. Did you
Yeah.
see Saltburn?
I didn't see Silver, but I've seen Euphoria.
The tall.
The guy from
Felix.
Euphoria. Yeah,
Felix,
okay, he
He
could-
could.
Is he
Maybe.
British?
He would have to grow up.
No, he's Australian. I think.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, I think he's
he is
Australian.
Australian.
Yeah.
If he
Mm.
grew up, I think he'd be good.
Yeah. I don't know who else that's
Yeah,
I'm at a
British like
loss.
recently. That would.
yeah.
I'm kind of at a loss, and I think it might be a woman. So that would be interesting
I
to
feel
see.
like that would be interesting. I don't know if I'd like that or not.
I'm gonna be real with you. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Hot takes. Hot takes.
no, I
today.
mean, I don't know, but
Then, like what? Because then it's like then the only way it would work is if it's a different this is a new Bond versus if it's
Yes.
in the timeline. Like, what are you gonna name her, Jamisha Bond? Like, and then think, and we're supposed to pretend
And
it's gonna be Tom.
And who
Yeah.
were they teasing it? Who was the actress that they were teasing? And who was it?
I
forget
can't
who it
remember her
is.
name, but then it's just kind of like, but come on, like,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
come on.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like,
You're right.
what
It's not a
would
good
be
idea.
the
It's not a good
point?
idea. You're 100%.
Just make Lara Croft again.
Yeah, or something
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Oh yeah, or just do a
do
new
Tomb
IP.
Raider.
That's yeah.
What was the? Didn't they did didn't Charlize Theron play like something in a? I didn't see the movie.
Furiosa?
No, like where she was kind of like a spy
know.
agent or something, and
Oh gosh, it was like Atomic Blonde,
yes, that's what it was.
and then it's just kind of like, okay,
That was more like John Wick, though. That was more like female John Wick. I feel
Yeah.
like.
Look, I didn't see it. I'm just saying. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's
so I feel like it just has to be something totally different. I
Yeah.
feel
I don't know.
well,
solving all the world's problems here.
Yeah, we.
Just gets me thinking, man.
That's why they haven't said anything yet. They can't decide either.
yeah, they don't. Well, I think I think they smartly leave some gap of time between each one of them,
Which
like,
is good.
so it doesn't get. Because I mean, how do you keep something going for 50 years, 20
They're
some
gonna have to reboot
movies? Well, I mean, they do
They
each
have to
time.
reboot
They
it.
kind of redo each time they add a new actor, but
Yeah.
but they also don't normally do them immediately right after.
it. Should be Keanu Reeves that plays James Bond.
He could,
Because I'm John Wick. I'm James.
Yeah.
It's like a Jekyll and a Hyde.
yeah,
He
he's,
would ju-
he's
I
too
know.
old too, though. He's too
Yeah.
old at this point too. Yeah, maybe if it was before John Wick. But
Yeah.
all right, well, only time will tell.
No.
Because I'm sure they'll make another movie because they're not going to stop
It
making
better
them.
be good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it will. They normally.
That's her.
I feel
I
like
think they're going
normally-
to course correct since they.
I'm going
they
to
s-
call SWAT if it's terrible.
Yeah.
I think they traditionally do a good job of lining up a good writing, directing, and new talent to play James Bond when
Yeah.
like
When they get someone new. Yeah.
yeah, it's like they
new
because they really take their time and line all that stuff up to like reboot it. Sometimes then they rush into other things after, and then like Quantum of Solace or License to Kill, or I'm trying to remember the second movie after of Brosnan, but
The
It's
one with
either
Holly
Tomorrow
Berry.
Never Dies or The World Is Not Enough. I don't
Yeah.
remember which one was next.
I don't either. But
It wasn't enough.
They both
years.
weren't
I'm
good.
sorry.
They both weren't good.
yep. But yeah. But speaking of, next week we will be covering
Yeah.
Spectre. So yeah.
I can't recall that one from memory, so
Yeah, you'll have to watch. You'll have to watch it. But what are your thoughts about this movie?
A lot of hot
Skyfall?
takes.
Yeah, there's a lot of hot takes in this.
Let's hear your
so
hot
many
takes.
hot takes.
Send us an email or
Yeah.
leave a comment. You can comment on the YouTube or send us an email at feedback@screentimepod.com. And hopefully you enjoyed this our conversation about Skyfall.
Thank you for joining us again.
Yeah,
Susan.
and we had CC now the second time, which I'm sure you'll see her face again.
Always bringing the hot takes.
That's
We
right.
started the last one with a hot take.
I don't remember. Did you?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it's like, this one didn't age very well.
Oh
It
yeah,
always
Oh,
starts with something
well.
interesting. Then you're like,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you like to following us on Instagram, you can follow me at jyoungbar, and you are
I am at as told by Cece, SISI.
yeah, and
I'm at Jared Youngbar.
all right, and with that, we will talk to you guys next week.